Welcome to at Rochelle Rogers, a YouTube channel where we take topics in the news, celebrity or otherwise, and we discuss them through two views, a spiritual view and then again through a physical view. Now, what I would like to talk about today is the great Alabama Riverfront Brawl of 2023. Now, if you have not heard of it, which I'm sure mostly have, but I never assume, because just because everybody knows about something doesn't mean that everybody knows about it, right? So just real quick, what happened, there was a river boat cruise down the Alabama River on the river cruise boat called the Harriet II. So when the Harriet II came to dock after cruising up and down the Alabama River, there was a pontoon boat at the dock preventing the Harriet II to dock. And so the captain of the Harriet II, his name was Damian Pickett, he asked the people of the pontoon boat, could you please move your boat? So 45 minutes later, he's still asking these people, please move your pontoon boat so I can get this riverboat cruise boat with all these people on here docked and they can go on about their merry little way. So I guess he got frustrated, and so they have little smaller boats on the river cruise boat. So he got in the smaller boat with a couple other people, and they paddled their way to the dock in order to talk to these people face to face. So they still were not moving the pontoon boat. So then Pickett, he was the co-captain of the river cruise boat, he started untying the pontoon boat. And then that's when the people on the pontoon boat got out of their boat and I guess started going back and forth face to face with the co-captain Damian Pickett. And then the one guy of the pontoon boat swung at Damian Pickett, and boom, a big old fight broke out. So just so happened, so people from the riverboat cruise, like once Damian Pickett and the people on the pontoon boat started fighting, because it was like 2-3 of them against just the one co-captain. So people on the riverboat started jumping off the boat, swimming to the dock, and I guess people that were already on the dock, they came to the Pickett's defense, and a big old brawl broke out. Now, the police, after investigation, they do agree that this event started behind racial lines, like it's along racial lines. Now, the people of the pontoon boat who were European American, and I am calling them European American. I used to say Caucasian, but after a conversation with a friend of mine, I am going to start calling them European Americans. Simply because if we are African Americans, because we're descendants of Africans, then they're European Americans because they basically descended from Europe. So the European Americans were the ones on the pontoon boat, and David Pinkin, he was an African American or a black man, okay? And I guess a lot of people on the riverboat cruise, they were black as well, African American as well, because, like I said, most of them that jumped in the water, got off the boat, were African American. So a big brawl broke out. Like I said, the police said it was along racial lines, because within that 45 minutes going back and forth between the co-captain and the people on the pontoon boat, they were hurling racial slurs to the co-captain, who was black, African American, okay? And but the police said that they were not going to charge any of them with any of the pontoon people with a hate crime. And he said, the police also said they were not going to charge them with inciting a riot, because that's basically, I don't know about a riot, but a definite brawl definitely broke out. So like I said, so they broke out into a fight after the Pickett man was trying to get them to move their boat, and he went to go untie the boat himself. So they got mad, and the one guy swung. Pickett threw his hat up like ding ding, and the fight broke out. So like I said, everybody jumped in, all the people from off the riverboat, other black people that was on the dock, everybody jumped in. More people that was on the pontoon boat, they got out of their boat to come up to start fighting, and it was a big brawl. So 4 of the people that was on the pontoon boat, the pontoon people, they are being charged. So one guy, his name was Richard Roberts. He was 48. He has 2 counts of third-degree assault. Then you had Alan Todd. He was 23, and he has third-degree assault, 1 charge. Zachary Shipman, 25. He also has 1 charge of third-degree assault. And then Mary Todd, she was 21, and she has 1 count of third-degree assault. Now, they all turned themselves in, right? After the police had a big news conference about it and told the people, look, turn yourselves in because we're going to catch you anyway. So they went ahead and turned themselves in. And of course, they're out on bond, and they are facing up to a $6,000 fine if they're found guilty or what have you. The penalties will be, they will have a fine up to $6,000, and they will have up to 1 year in jail. Now, the arraignment is scheduled for September 1st. So I guess after September 1st, we'll have more information on whether these charges will stick, what the charges will actually be, and if they really will get any real jail time. So I just want to talk about how the pontoon people seem to be, it's either one or two things. Either they were very drunk, or they just had no respect for authority, or no respect for people in general, or they just had no respect for people of color because the co-captain was a black man. And the reason why I say no respect for people in general is because if me personally, and a lot of people that I know, if we are on a pontoon boat and we are at the dock and we see this big riverboat coming towards us, we know this riverboat has to dock. Okay, y'all, let's move out the way. Let's let this, riverboat come on and dock. But maybe these pontoon people seen there was a bunch of color up on that riverboat, and they was just like, we don't care, right? Because America has convinced European Americans that they are, they led them to believe a certain way about themselves that leads them to act with a sense of entitlement, okay? America did that to them, right? America coddled the European Americans and favored the European Americans, and so now the European Americans felt they can do whatever they want, especially when they're up against people of color, right? So there you go. It's either that, like I said, or they just are a bunch of buttholes, you know what I'm saying, and a bunch of jerks, you feel me? And their mamas and daddies ought to be ashamed for raising people that way. Common courtesy. You see the riverboat coming, move your pontoon boat. And the David Pickett, the co-captain, he should not have had to ask you for 45 minutes to move that boat. And then they said when he asked to move the boat, they started cursing at him and making gestures and, just taunting him and just, what I'm saying, being I'm using jerk because I want to say something else, but I'm trying to, I'm on YouTube. So I'm just trying to use language that, won't get me censored or whatever they might do. So sense of entitlement. So either they had a sense of entitlement, or it had something to do with that man's race, and they just had no respect. You know what I'm saying? No respect for just being a human, decent person, and then no respect for the people on the boat or the co-captain. Now, the police department, the Montgomery Police Department, said that they were not charging the pontoon people with hate crime, even though they themselves admit that this case probably stemmed from race. You know what I'm saying? That this thing goes through racial lines. So I don't know what that's about really. And then said that they aren't going to be charged with inciting a riot. And I just feel like if the little boy in New York who was giving away the PlayStations, his name was Kai Sensei. He was giving out the PlayStations in New York, and everybody just went buck wild, and they arrested him and charged him with inciting a riot. Now, if he incited a riot, then these pontoon people incited a riot too. Now, I also want to talk about how this whole thing on a spiritual level, for me, comes down to not being able to control your flesh. Now, like I said, on a physical level, these pontoon people are just arrogant, entitled, disrespectful, and wasn't raised right? On a spiritual level, they were following their flesh. Like the flesh gravitates towards negativity and gravitates toward bad things. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't lead your flesh will lead you, and you will end up in situations like this brawl that happened on the Riverfront in Montgomery, Alabama. So we have to learn to control our flesh. That is one reason for fasting. Now, like if you are a believer in Christ and you may practice fasting once a year, there are other religions that practice it as well. But I'm just coming from the angle of a believer in Christ because that's what I am. You know, there are many reasons that you fast, but one of the reasons is to conquer the flesh. You know, because you are depriving your flesh of food and of different things that you normally feed the flesh. And so when you deprive the flesh of those things, your flesh craves that. So you have to learn how to control that flesh and put your flesh at bay so that you can have a successful fast. And that is another reason why prayer is so important when you are fasting, because, sweetheart, you need to pray. You know what I'm saying? When you hadn't eaten all day and that tummy growling and that flesh is saying, feed me, the only thing that's going to get you through is some prayer, okay? So we have to learn to control our flesh, because if we're not aware and not conscious of how our flesh can dictate our behavior, we'd be doing all kinds of stuff, right? So the flesh, it really is hard to control, and we need to learn to tame it. If you don't learn to tame your flesh, you're going to be in all kind of mess and all kind of trouble, because the flesh loves that kind of energy, right? So, and it spreads really fast. Just the New York riot or whatever that was is a good example of how fast the negative energy spread. Like, you will see videos of people, they destroying cars and destroying street lights just for no reason. You supposed to be down there trying to get a PlayStation. Now you twerking on a pole. Now you jumping on people's cars, buzzing out windows. Now what they got to do with getting a free PlayStation? Nothing. That is just that negative energy spreading quickly, and the flesh gravitating to it. And then you got a lot of people that are not in control of their flesh, and they have given in to the flesh, and boom, that's what you got. A bunch of mess, a bunch of nonsense. Same with this riverboat. Following the flesh, and that's the flesh gonna lead you down the wrong path every time if you let it. So, I guess that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching, and like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.